Is there anything else on the board win total wise that at least has caught your attention? Maybe you're not fully sure that you love it, but is there anything else that kind of stands out to you where things stand right now?
Yeah, so sorry, excuse me. I initially did not want to play Kentucky over early in the summer. Most books had them at 6.5 for their win total, and it was juiced on the over. I initially wrote down like when I got my Phil Steele magazine, so that was like late June. So this we're going back at least 6 weeks, but it was minus 162 at FanDuel at that point. And I just don't, especially a bet that's gonna, be 4 months long. I don't like to lay an expensive price like that. And if I do, I would just make a little, small
Right.
play on it because you got to be like, super duper confident if you're willing to risk 162 to win 100. So some books have moved it to 7 and it's around even money for the over. And I prefer that, even if I push on 7 and would otherwise have won at 6.5. But I think Kentucky can probably get to 8. Look, Devin Leary was fantastic at NC State 2 years ago, a 35-5 TDINT ratio. I think he's an upgrade from Levis. I think Kentucky's receivers are probably as good as they've had in like a decade.
Yeah.
Phil Steele's national unit rankings, and I'm not saying that that's the end all be all, but I think Phil does a really good job in this magazine. He's got him 22nd in the nation at wide receiver. We know they're always going to be solid on defense under Stoops. They did a good job in the portal. The 14th ranked transfer specific class, 12 transfers, 6 of them 4 stars. They've still got Jackson and Lovett, and JJ Weaver's been playing good ball for them for years. And I thought Dane Key at wide receiver had a really good freshman season. Barryon Brown was outstanding. They've got all their receivers back, and they'll miss Rodriguez, but I like McLean at running back as well. And then one more thing on Leary. Before he got hurt last year, they only had one loss, and that was at
Yeah.
Clemson. So he was on his way to having a really good year after the 35-5 TDI and T ratio. So I'm not as bullish on this Kentucky over 7 as I am those 3 out of the West: LSU, Arkansas, and Ole Miss. But I did make a little bit of play on it on one of my accounts whenever it moved to 7 and the price was different. So you look at them, those 3, the first 3 games are layups. Obviously, they lost to Vandy at home, so they could lose at
Yeah.
Vandy, but that'll be a revenge game. I like their chances there. I mentioned how low I am on my Gators. And the Gators don't own Kentucky like they did for 30 plus years. It's kind of turned a little bit the last like 5 years. So I mean, there's the possibility they start 5-0. I mean, some people might say, that they're really confident they start 5-0. They're going to lose to Georgia. They're going to be favored against Missouri at home, and the Tennessee game. That is a brutal spot for
Yeah.
Tennessee. It's the week after Alabama. They got to travel 2 weeks in a row. Kentucky's in revenge mode here. Kentucky gets absolutely smoked in Knoxville last year. Kentucky's going to be watching that Bama game, relaxing, getting healthy. They've got 2 weeks to prepare for the Vols. I think that I'm not saying they definitely win that game, but that's one of those games you circle before the season and are like, okay, that's a good situation for Kentucky. And Starkville will be a tough game. They very well may lose that one. Um, we'll see on Alabama. We'll see on Alabama's quarterback situation.
Yeah.
I think I'm having my doubts about Alabama. I'm not going to be shocked if they have. I mean, if they go 8-4, 9-3, the sky will be falling, and I think that's a possibility if the quarterback play isn't pretty good. At South Carolina will be tough, but they've dominated Louisville, so I think they win that one. So yeah, I think that they get to at least 7, and I have them going 8-4, But, if they win that Tennessee game and they can, get one of those, whether it be in Starkville or Columbia, out of Mississippi State and South Carolina, don't lose any that you're supposed to at home. In fact, only lose Alabama at home, then 9-3 could be the deal for them.
Yeah, Cats, they're another team. I think we talked a lot about this summer. Everybody knows Blaine is very high on Kentucky. Just talking about that combination, like you mentioned, all the playmakers offensively with Devin Leary coming in, Ray Davis, Barry and Brown, and just keep going down the mix, knowing they're going to be good on defense. And so, yeah, but it's the schedule, getting 2 home games against Tennessee and Alabama. What a fascinating setup that could be. And that place will be rocking, as we know, if Kentucky is playing well at that point for those two. So
shame on me for not mentioning Ray Davis. I mean, if you run for over 1,000 yards at Vandy, you should probably get a mention from me. I'm